Welcome back to Slothbox. This channel is proudly sponsored by Lionpool Security Services and the Excelsior Sporting Club. This is James Lutton for Slothbox, and today I'm delighted to be joined with Kevin Barry. I want to talk about two potential fights in the heavyweight division. A lot of talk about them happening out in Saudi Arabia towards the end of the year, early next year. The first one, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. It's a fight that's been talked about for years.
Yes.
Is that a fight you would love to see?
You know, I think as a fan, I'd like to see it because I think we would like to we'd like to see who would win. You know, a lot of people think that the fight's a very, very fast fight. That Deontay Wilder, clips him with a right hand and knocks him out in the first couple of rounds. A lot of Joshua fans think, well, he's now improved his defense. He's now jabbing a lot better. His hands are up high. He's keeping the distance. You know, maybe he can outbox Wilder and wear him down into the later rounds and do what Fury did to him. I don't think so. Look, I think it's a good fight. I think it's a fight that can sell a lot of tickets. I think it's a fight that people want to see. It's a fight that 100% it's a knockout. You know, that fight is not going 12 rounds. The one thing about Deontay Wilder is he still has his power. Anthony Joshua seemingly has lost his confidence. And even in that last fight against Robert Helenius, Helenius, as we all know, came in late notice, was perfect for Joshua. And yet Joshua could barely land any more than one jab. He couldn't get his distance. He couldn't work out how to land the right hand. He was reaching with it. At one stage, he was heard coming back to the corner saying to Derek James, I can't close the distance. Well, try doubling your jab and try moving your feet. He was sitting there and he was reaching with his punches. Well, if the other person's moving away, you've got to step after him. And it starts with the feet. And these are very, very simple and very basic things for me. You don't have to you don't have to go out there and be all fancy. Just do the basics well. And he simply didn't. Taking 7 rounds to get that fight closed was a terrible performance. It really, really was. I don't know. Look, I was one of the guys after the Jermaine Franklin fight. I actually said I thought it was a good performance by him. He showed new tools. And a lot of people said, he should have knocked him out. He should have done this. He should have done that. I thought it was good that he got the rounds in and he showed some nice aggression. He showed very good defense. But against Helenius, and let's remember, Franklin was much smaller than Helenius. Against Helenius, he couldn't even get to him. He couldn't reach to him. Well, let's remember, Deontay Wilder is every bit as tall as Helenius. And if you start reaching with your left and right hands, you're going to get knocked spark out by Wilder. Because that's his game. That's what he does. So, look, it's an exciting fight. It's a fight that the fans will want to see. It's a fight. There'll be a lot of talk about it. There'll be a lot of going backwards and forwards. I just hope that they're not having the fans on, that they're actually both parties. Well, I know Wilder's serious about it. I hope Eddie's serious about it and Joshua's team. And I hope they make this fight happen. I believe we'll have an answer over the next couple of weeks. The only thing I don't like about this whole deal is that, I heard a little bit of talk recently where Joshua said, look, if the Wilder fight doesn't happen, I'll fight again at the end of the year. Well, when you start thinking about things like that, you already have a plan in place for something like that. If you are trying with everything in your power to make that fight happen, you wouldn't be talking about any other fight. That would be all your energy, all your focus. So look, I hope it happens.
If that's the walk 'em down 100% knockout fight, the next one is a more of a technical battle and a chess match of a fight. Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury.
Yeah, look, I think we've got to get Tyson's got to get through Francis Ngannou first. And you're thinking, why is he even saying that? Of course he's going to get through Ngannou. What are we going to talk? Do you want to talk Usyk and Tyson? Look,
We'll
I
come
have.
on to Ngannou.
Beg your pardon?
We'll come on to Ngannou after.
Hey, look, Tyson is simply too big. He's too big. He's too good. We know that Usyk has phenomenal skills, but let's remember, Usyk's the second best cruiserweight in boxing history behind Evander Holyfield. And Usyk's turning 37 in January. So, that window is slowly closing. He has to make that fight now. They have to make Usyk and Fury for the good of boxing. It's a ginormous fight. It's a huge revenue gatherer. It's a fight that all boxing fans, in fact, it's a fight that sporting fans, it's bigger than boxing fans, sporting fans around the world want to see this fight. In my mind, I've watched Tyson over the years. I've had him in my gym with his team. When he's in Vegas, he does the sparring at the Team Barry gym. Love the guy to bits. He's very clever. He's got a massive IQ. He can fight on the inside. He can fight on the outside. He can change from orthodox to southpaw. He has a specialty of getting inside a fighter's head and tearing them apart. He's a very good businessman. He's a marketing genius and a great self-promoter. And when you have Tyson Fury fighting, you're going to fill venues and you're going to sell a lot of pay-per-view because that's who the guy is. As a style-wise, I simply think that he is too big. That his size and his skill level will be too big and will overpower Alexander Usyk. That's how I see it. I would be extremely shocked if the 6'3", 37-year-old to be soon Usyk could keep Fury off him. We looked at the two fights last year that he had, White and Chisora. Look, he let those fights go for as long as he wanted those fights. They were picked opponents. He was taking care of a few promises and played with those guys. We know that there is so much more to Tyson Fury than what was on display in the two fights he had last year.
Absolutely, and you've mentioned already Francis Ngannou. Fury's got to get through him first. What do you make of that fight, first of all, and the whole crossover business?
Well, I tell you what, I think it's simply, firstly, it happened because the WBC mandated Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz to fight each other, and they could not come to terms. And now they've actually so there is no mandatory for the WBC. The WBC have come out now and they've said that at their convention in November, they will appoint two other fighters to fight for the mandatory. Which, when you look at the fact that Deontay Wilder is number one and Anthony Joshua is number three, it's a no-brainer that the WBC are going to mandate that, because Andy Ruiz is sitting there at 2 and he's already been taken out of the equation. They're going to mandate that fight for the WBC mandatory when they fight. Francis Ngannou. So the reason why that fight was ever possible was because there was an opening for Fury. And we talked before about his promotional prowess and his expert marketing. You know, this is a fight that captures the imagination of the whole world. And look, you know, the UFC have turned their champions into global stars. There's no secret how many pay-per-views they've done in the last 5, 7, 10 years. You know, they've grown that to massive proportions. This fight on paper is for the baddest man in the world. But when you actually take a step back and you go, okay, it's 6'9" against 6'3", 4. It's Tyson Fury against a guy who's never had one professional boxing fight. It's a mismatch every way you look at it. Will I watch it? Of course. Will the boxing fans and the sporting fans around the world watch it? Of course. It'll do massive numbers. But I think it's a fight that what has to happen? You've got a guy who's got good power in Francis Ngannou. He has to be able to land that power. Now let's remember, Tyson Fury just did 30 rounds with the biggest puncher ever in the heavyweight division, in Deontay Wilder. Did he get dropped? Yes, he got dropped 4 times in 3 fights. Did he get up? Yes, he got up every time. Does this guy hit harder than Deontay Wilder? I doubt it. Has Francis Ngannou ever gone 12 3-minute rounds? No, he hasn't. Look, it's a fun fight. It's a crossover fight, and I think we've seen a few of these now. You know, with big name guys, and they work, and they make a lot of money. And you know, Mayweather's doing it all the time. You know, you look at this fight with Conor McGregor. Was just printing money. So, you know, Tyson's sitting there and he goes, this just shows I have all the power, I have all the control. With the heavyweight division needs Tyson Fury, and they need him badly, and he knows that. And that's why, you know, when they sit down after this fight and after his after Usyk's fight with Dubois and Tyson's fight with Ngannou, you know, Tyson he's holding all the cards. He has the upper hand. And that's Tyson Fury. You know, he knows his value. He knows what he has. He knows how badly people want to see him fight Usyk. And that'll, you know, and that's why he will get the lion's share of everything.
Absolutely. Well, it's certainly exciting times for the division. As we mentioned at the start of the call, it's the most exciting division in the sport, and this is exactly why it is so exciting. But Kevin, I want to thank you very much for your time, and thank you for joining us today.
Sure, James, and great to be on Sloth Box with you.